everybody, it's Erin Reed and welcome to another version of some ideas for handmade cards. I get these ideas and I get these cards from doing me personally and also from doing a card swap that I host. So if you're interested in joining in the card swap, we'll leave a line so that way you can join in. So some of these cards I have personally done and some of these cards are ones that came from the swap. There's only 3 that came from the swap this time because I'm saving a bunch. A lot of them haven't come in yet, so I'm kind of waiting and there'll be more videos coming. And the theme for this was sentimentless, meaning there is no sentiment. There's no stamp, there's no words, there's nothing on there. Well, except for maybe if like it's a background paper, but there's nothing on there that says happy birthday, Merry Christmas, thank you, sympathy, happy anniversary. They're what I would call more generic type cards. Now, some might have a pseudo theme to them just because of maybe the papers or the colors that are in there, but it could go another direction if you add a sentiment or if you give it with an insert of maybe what you write on the inside. So let's go through the few that I got as for the swap that is coming up. Or that's in process, I guess you could say. So this first one is from, actually these two, this came from Becky Baker. She wrote her name on the back, which is fantastic. And she made both of these. She made 10 and 10, so she put 20 into the swap this time. It's on a white cardstock base, and she made 10 just like this, and you open it vertically. Very cute, right? And then she has a red cardstock background, and she has punched these little hearts that are all the way across the bottom. Super adorable. And then she has created, oh, and then on the edge of that, she inked in white, which looks super pretty and kind of a messy white chalky ink. It looks very, very cool. I love that. And then she has this dress. Now, I don't know if this is from a kit or what, but it is this white dress and it's already got like the design on it. So my guess is that it kind of comes like that. It's really cool. And then she put a little bit of ribbon on there and a gem to make it look like there's a belt around the dress. So because there's no sentiment on this, this could work for a birthday card. This would work for a happy or like a wedding or a happy anniversary card because it kind of almost looks like a wedding dress, kind of. This could work as a love card because, or like a Valentine's Day card because the heart's down there. Or it could just be a thank you card because there's nothing on there. I mean, that's kind of the beauty of leaving a card without a sentiment. You leave it in your stash, and I have a few of these. They're in my stash just ready for, I need to throw a note to somebody, a thank you note to a teacher. We need an extra birthday card or something. And so if I don't put anything specific on there, it's perfect for that. And so that's what this is. So fun. I love it. The next one that she has made is also a vertical. This time she put an insert in there on white because she did a background of a black paper. That's the base of the card. And this is an A2 size card. So for my swaps, it's an A2 size card. But I did pull some other cards that are from previous swaps that I have done, or I have made them years ago kind of thing, and I pulled them because there's no sentiment, but they're not A2. So just heads up, there's a few that are not A2 size. They're just handmade, sentimentless, generic, quote unquote, cards. So this again is the black background. She inked it with this kind of, it's not quite a red, it's not quite a brown, it's kind of a rust color, which is really pretty. Again, that messy ink, I love that. I mean, I'm an inker, so that's why I love that. And then we have this background panel that looks like it's wood grain, so pretty. A little bit of a red border going right across here, and she's inked that in a brown. We have a tag. She's put this little tag down here, and that is in a craft paper that she's inked in brown. And then there's a layer of 3 stamps. And I'm trying to figure out what this little guy is. It almost looks like it's a pepper, but I don't think it's supposed to be a pepper. I think it's supposed to be another flower. It's really kind of, but it's cool. She's done a trio. It's a flower, and then this little piece right here. So if you see this, let me know what that was supposed to be because it looks like it's a pepper, but I know it's not, but maybe it is. I don't know. But therefore, it's one of those makes you think kind of things. She's put a little twine hair up near the top on the tag and then a gem in the center. And again, there's no sentiment on here. But here's the cool thing. With a card like this, you could easily stamp a little something that says thank you. Love you, happy birthday. You could get a little tiny sentiment stamp and then boom, it fits right there. So you can always come in, make the card, leave a space, either add to it or not, and it's perfect for you to add a stamp in later on or a little sticker or something. So that's really cool about that. So cute. This card right here is from Dori, and she started with a brown cardstock base, and then she has added, and it's just what I would call a standard open vertically or horizontally open card, vertical open. I don't know how to call that. Anyway, so I call one of your more standard cards. This is a little bit of a different opening. It's still same basic shape. So this is a fun, different kind of card. We'll get to that later. Okay, so from here we have it's a blue pattern paper that's got a lot of cool patterns in it. It looks almost like it's marbleized or something. So that's on the background. And then we have this stamp, and it's of a hot air balloon that she has done on a white paper, but then kind of distressed it with looks like some like a distressed ink, like a blender tool, but then also colored in all the blue and the red on there. So the distressing is done in a very dark brown, which is very pretty. Then we have like a handmade paper that she has die cut or punched. It's not a punch, it's too big for a punch. Or maybe it's been like a Cricut cut or something. And I think she's also inked the edges of that because I can see some areas that are darker than not. She has splattered that with looks like some black paint. So there's some splatters on there. And then what she's done, she's come in and she's got a series of, and I think it is like a vellum. So there's these 3 circles right here. It's these little vellum pieces. And this piece is popped up and this piece is popped up. So she put this and then this down. And I think these are like little rub-ons or something like that. They're really pretty. It's not a paint. And I can see just a little bit kind of pulling off right here. So it makes me feel like this was a rub-on. You're going to have to let me know what that is, Dori, because that is really kind of cool. And then she's done the same thing like we did with this card. She's left a space open here where you could come in with a stamp or leave it as is, or handwrite something, or add a sticker if you want to add a sentiment. But to me, this is a very generic card. This could go masculine, this could go feminine, this could be a Father's Day card, this could lend to be a happy birthday masculine, this could lend to be a happy anniversary to your husband or your spouse, this could be an adult male birthday, but this also could go very feminine too. I mean, it's got a hot air balloon. There's nothing wrong. This could be a thank you card. I mean, there's so many ways this card, which is why I love generic cards, it could go in so many different paths, which is fantastic. Thank you. So this is a card I made a while ago, and as you can see, some of the washi tape is kind of pulling off. It is what I would call a masculine generic card. I could use this for an anniversary card, happy birthday card, a Father's Day card. It's a very rustic card. I started off with a white base. This is actually a different card if you want to poke up. I used the background of a card that already had some stuff on it, and I actually gave this to my husband for his anniversary, and I still have it. It's kind of in my stash of cards because I just thought it was cool. And it was one of my favorite cards I'd made, so I wanted to hang on to it. And so what I did is I did a black background paper on top of the white and then glued it over top of the paper. It was some note cards that I was like, I'm never going to use these note cards. I don't have a use, but it's a card. It's white and it's blank on the inside. I'm going to use it. Then I took this pattern paper here. It's kind of this Hans-toothy kind of pattern paper, splattered it with some glimmer mist. This is like I believe this was Black Magic Glimmer Mist and from Tattered Angels. I have this die cut anchor that I took a black ink. It was originally white and just patted the ink pad all over that. I don't think I have a video for this. This was made before I started really doing a whole lot of videos. That's why I'm describing it all to you. Then I took some washi tape, and then that's what I used. I mean, I did glue down this background paper, so away from the anchor for a second. Used the washi tape and kind of hit the corners and just tore and did rough patches of washi tape kind of all around. I have a banner here, and there's a background of a kind of like a foilish paper. And it was just, it's a paper, it's a one-sided paper, and it's got a little bit of a pattern to it. Then added a sticker on top that was full of gears. Inked that really well because it was white with, and I wanted it more rustic looking and more grungy looking. Then I did the anchor, again, that was white, and I did the black ink on top of that. And I believe I inked the edges of everything on here. You can see a big swipe of ink, so all the edges are inked here. And, but before I did the anchor, I took 3 strands of black baker's twine, and I actually stapled it, and that's what's holding. So that's where they're movable on here. They're just stapled. I put a whole bunch of staples on this side and a whole bunch on this side. That's what's holding down this twine that's going across. So it's this big banner of layers going across here. Then it's the anchor, and it's been pop dotted up. The last little thing I did is I added 3 little gems here in the corner in the blue, just to kind of bring some more of the blue in. And that's it. Super simple. I mean, it's not well, it's got a lot of details to it, but there's not a lot of fussy coloring and stuff. It's just layers of colors and using some washi tape. And it's what, I don't know, I just like the whole look of the whole thing. It's kind of a fun way of using an anchor, even though there's nothing to do with sailing, but it is one of the cards I like that I made a long time ago. All right, moving into a couple of simple cards. I do have a video for this. So any of the videos that I have, they'll be linked up in the iCard because there's a lot of different videos happening. But I will also link a playlist at the end of this that has a lot to do with sentimentless cards or card ideas. So you guys can check out those too. So these are two that I just have a base. There's a sequin in there. How random. Got stuck inside there. So it's just a craft base, and then this was a coloring sheet that came from Adorn It, and I just went in and roughed, and I didn't actually color. We used watercolors for this. My daughter was playing with me on that video about how to play, and it came from a card pack. They're about 4 by 6 inches, and we cut them down, and then we painted it up and then just stuck it in. It is very, very simple. It was so stinking easy to make these. I cannot stress to you how simple. Backed it onto a craft card because this was already white and I didn't want to put a white on a white. So just to kind of give it a difference, it went with craft. I mean, these are so super simple and fast and easy, and that's what I loved about them. This is a fun card. I actually made a video with this. It is a very easy, this card base, and you'll see that I've used this kind of a card base on a few different cards you're going to be seeing throughout here. So stinking simple. This is using pom-pom trim right here. It's a full strand of pom-pom trim that I then wrapped in a loop. And again, there's a video on this. Add a little bit more of some pom-pom in a yellow in the center, and then just used rickrack to make it into a flower. How stinking easy. And the card itself already has this canvas stitch on there. So I feel like half the work is already done for me when I use this card. And there's one that's got a burlap base. There's another one that's got a denim base. They're really kind of cool. Those ones come from Canvas Core. And then it's just a blank card on the inside. And you can see the stitching. It's so pretty. So that was another fun one that I did. I love that card. This is another one I did a long time ago. Again, it's using that same card base. So here you can see it. And I used a little bit of some sisal twine. This is it reminds you almost of hay. So it's that same card base. I die cut out 2 giant leaves. So this could lead to an autumn card. I mean, some of these cards, there's really no end to it. The beginning I talked about what you could use it for, but just start using your imagination about where you could go. This could definitely be something that you give towards the autumn, a Thanksgiving card, a thanks for having us over for Thanksgiving, but you know, it's just something a little different. So I die cut out 2 leaves out of the Rainier foil paper in copper and gold, and they're really pretty. Off-centered them. Added this twine, and I cut a little hole right here. And I don't know if I have a video, but I will go back and look and I'll see if I found it. Again, I made this a while ago. Cut a little hole, ran the twine right through there, tied a knot, and then I got a large paper clip, and then I got some clay that I rolled out really thin, punched with this cute little owl, stuck it on there, and then I used like the Tonic Nouveau drops around the corner, all around the edge, and kind of like a bronzy color just to outline it. And that was it. So this is actually, I did glue this down, but you could make this clip movable. So it could be like a fun gift that you're giving to them. So that's kind of a fun way. And it doesn't bother me that this kind of pokes out, because if I did put this in the envelope, I could tuck it and then not glue it, and it could come out again. And I believe I can see it can also, I ink the edges of the card in a brown ink just for a little bit of interest. This is a card that was many, many, many layers on here. This was lots of fun. I love doing this. Again, the card base is that ivory with the, yeah, it's an ivory card base with the burlapped stitched on there. So you can see the stitching on the inside. There's lots of layers. The first layer is a layer of pattern paper that I misted in blue. And it had a little bit of a resist on there. I then added another layer of pattern paper that has a, it was just a brown script, and I splattered it with blue and brown mist. Then there's 3 layers of chipboard here. There's 1, 2, 3, and they're all frames. I colored them in the Tattered Angels different paints. There's a bronze, a copper, and a gold, like an antique gold. And I just layered them on top of each other. Added a little bit of craft paper and put a pretty cabochon right here in the middle. This was just an embellishment, and it fit perfectly in that frame, and I thought it was really cool. Over here, I've got layers of different like swirly dies, leaf dies. I did them in the craft paper and then misted them. So here's one that's more in a brown. There's some that look like a cat's tail, and I think I have a video on this. And then I took, and I had some coming this way and some coming this way. And then this right here is a gray and black crystal swirl that I had coming in 2 different directions. And then I took some blue, because there was hints of blue, some blue it's like a blue rope, like a canvas rope that I pulled apart to make it look like it was all fuzzy, and then just stuck them in the corners here to add that pop of blue. And everything is held down with a lot of glue. There's a lot of glue in this card. But this thing I think is about 3 years old now, and it's fantabulous. Maybe it's more like 2 years old, but I don't remember if I did a video on this because this was that long ago, and I don't know if I was running my videos as consistently as I am now. So this is one of my older cards. But again, I love it. That's why I've hung on to it versus giving it away. It's one of my more favorites. Okay, getting into some fun cards. So this is one of those little box cards. This one came from Pink and Maine. I actually did this. There's a video on how to make this. It's a die kit that you can get that is really cool. So this is one where you die all the pieces together. There's die pieces for all these little inserts that are on here going all the way around. There's Stampin' dies, and you can mix and match what go on the inside of this. Obviously, you can change the pattern paper that you put on here, the color of the background paper, and then what little stamps you stick on the inside. So I just did penguins, but penguins could also work for before Christmas. This could be a Christmas card. This could also work for a card that's in the winter. This could work for a summer card and go, hey, just chillin'. You know, you could definitely take that because it's just snowflakes and penguins that are cuddled up and there's no sentiment on it. It could go for a lot of different things. And it's just kind of a cool card. When it is all folded up, it is the same size as an A2 size card, so it fits inside that envelope, which I think is fantastic. And it is just really fun. I actually made this card with my friend Mitziana while we were both at a conference together, and she came and she did this as a make and take, and she was in the next booth over from a different, we were both working with different companies, but we work with some similar companies as well, so that was fun. And then we did a video while we were there. So it's just a little box card, so fun, and it's really easy to make too. Once you have the die and it's all die cut for you. So fun. Here is what I would call Christmas cards. So it's a series. I made these two, and these ones came from a swap, and I'm trying to see if some of these names is on here anymore, and I don't think they are. This one, she's got a sentiment or a materials list, but I don't see her name on it. So why I pulled these is because you could get inspiration from, I'm going to pull these couple, and I'm sorry if I can't remember whose these were. So it's just, this is a black, let's go this one first. This is a black cardstock base. Now she does have some information on the inside, and it does say Christmas blessings, but if you pulled that part out, it definitely hits the generic card scenario. Black cardstock base, and I love the idea that there's just this little trim on the inside. It's so pretty. And you could do that and leave this blank. So that's really fun. Blue cardstock, a piece of pattern paper that is music, and this does say Oh Holy Night, so it does lend you towards the Christmas, and this is Three Kings. But I pulled it for this because if you pulled music and then you have a really pretty die that is just kind of a, it could be a die like this, you know, it's kind of the same concept why I pulled both of those. There's no sentiment on there, but it still gets the, it could be used for whatever. So you could have a flower on here, you could have all kinds of fun stuff. So again, you could use this for other things, which I think is really pretty. You could even use this for a christening card, even though it has kind of a Christmassy feel, but they're all coming to see the baby, so it has that kind of a vibe to it. This one, again, it leads towards Christmas, but not. So even though it's Christmas colors, you could still use this for other things. You could get rid of the snowflake, and it definitely takes away from the, it has to be a Christmas feel, and I think you could turn it either way. So it is a red cardstock base. On the inside, you could leave it blank. She did put this one in here Christmas season, but again, if you didn't put that insert in there, you wouldn't know. Then she has a plaid paper. Change the plaid paper to a different plaid, and you have a whole different feel and vibe for the card. Some vellums, you still kind of see it, and she's punched corners. It got smashed in my drawer with all my cards and my leftover. This was a card I kept from doing the Christmas swap. And then she has a series of dies. So they have the green one and then a couple of reds. But again, if you change the colors and you put this as a flower versus a snowflake, it's no longer a Christmassy feel. It's something very different, which I think is kind of fun. All right, now this one definitely lends towards Christmas unless you took this off. and then it kind of takes away from the Christmas. So this is another one of those cards. It's that same card base. And this is all clay. So this is clay that I rolled into long strips, and then I just swirled. It made them into swirls. And I actually got an inspiration from when I did one of those paint and sips. And we did Christmas trees. It was, of course, and I made mine blue. Everybody else is doing green trees. I did blue trees. You know, I love blue. And I thought, well, what is that concept? Because the trees were all made from us doing swirly patterns. It wasn't just a big triangle, but it was in the shape of a triangle. So I came home and I made this card that night. So this is all clay that's been, you can see all the swirls in here. And some swirls I made longer and shorter. Made it in the shape of the triangle, add little balls on there. You could take little red balls off because those are the ornaments. But the idea that you could put something different on a card, and again, no sentiment, but just leave it as a shape, you could leave it and then it becomes something very different. But because the stars and the Christmas balls, it does have kind of a Christmassy feel. I don't care what season it is. If you got a Christmas card right now, would you be upset? I mean, truly, would you be upset if you got a handmade Christmas card in June? I wouldn't. I'd be kind of thrilled. And this is another card I made, and I know it's got poinsettias on it. I made this actually last year for Christmas in July, and there is a video on both of these on how I made them, by the way. This is using a tall, skinny card. So it's actually an 8x8 sheet of paper that you fold in half, and then it makes a 4x8 long, tall, skinny card. And I just kind of love that feeling of it. I did some white stamping in the background, so you can see that white stamps and splatters of red ink on there, layers of white. You can see there's a white ribbon coming down there, and then there's a white pearl swirl with some lace, and then there's this really cool, I don't even know what this stuff was. It came from something. Oh, it was, it's a ribbon that I pulled apart and it made it look like it was frayed. And it's been a while since I played with this. So it's actually like a frayed piece of ribbon, but it's different. It's got kind of glittery feel to it. And then a series of flowers and kind of this pine cone thing in here. But if I gave this to somebody, it's because there's no Christmas written on there, it would just be a red pretty card. It's just an elegant card. But it definitely has kind of a Christmas vibe. So I can see if I gave it as a Christmas card, it would work. But I could also give it for something else as a thank you card, and it would work too. So it kind of, this one could go both ways, which I think is kind of cool. All right, so these are all part of some cards I made with my Love from Lizzie kits. And as I pulled them out, I realized there was quite a few I never stuck a sentiment on. So this is one I did in the most recent kit, is using a blue shiny paper. It's so gorgeous. I actually folded it a little bit differently. And it got a little, there it is. So if you notice, it folds this way, pulls out, and then it folds this way. And I love that little hint that you open it up and go, oh, there's more hearts there. So this could go to a Valentine's Day card, but not. These are layers of stickers, layers of ribbons. This is some little mirror paper that's just right there. And then I just put a pretty little bow on the front of that. So that way you can kind of use this as your pull tab and realize it opens from here. So, but again, I left it sentimentless, so it works really well. There is a detailed video about how I made all of these cards in the Love from Lizzie kits, because it's making 10 cards from one kit, and these came from 3 different kits. This is another one where I went with a shabby chic. There is a little gem on here, or a little charm, and I did debate, is this sentimentless or not? But all this says is hand made with love. That's it. So to me, this could work for a wedding. This could work for obviously a Valentine's Day card. This could work for an anniversary card. This could work for a lot of different stuff. I think it would really lend well to a lot of options. And it's got lots of layers, lots of things. I actually used an old method where you spray the paper with water and crinkle it up. And that's why it's got this kind of grungy look. These really pretty doilies are on here. These die cut ivy pieces are on here, or vining pieces out of the same paper that's from that, because this actually came from the same kit. And then charms, punching. I haven't punched in forever, using like an edge punch. So having lots and lots of fun with that. This was also made from the same kit. So these 3 cards are actually on the same video. And this is one where I love the background paper so much. It didn't have any words on it. I just love the girl's head. And so I just matted it on a pink background paper. That's what the card base is just in pink. And added some little Nuvo drops in the corner, and then just left it. So now I can use this for birthday, thank you, thinking of you, just, you know, whatever. Just, there's so many options for this card that I could go a lot of different ways with it. And I kind of love it that it's simple, it's blank. This one right here is fun. This is one where it's an A2 size card, but I cut the bottom off, rounded the corners, and then folded it, and then I matted right here, and then I just matted on the bottom right here in a couple of fun colors, and then added that square so you know kind of where it picks up. And then in the square, this was a pattern paper that came in the kit. That was just easy. Now, and these are all like little presents or something, but then it's got the flower and it's just floral, so it really could lend to do just about anything. And you've got this space that you can write in the green up top here, right there. It's kind of a fun and kind of a different folding card, which I like. I think that's kind of cool. This is another one where I just decided that for this particular card, I wanted the technique to be a bigger statement than trying to add a sentiment to it. So it's just a white cardstock base, lots of layers of some pretty pattern paper, and then this was using this gel. It was like a glitter paste with a stencil, and then this is the Nuvo drops here in the center as like the centerpiece of the flower, with some strips going along here, and then I hand did the stem. So it's kind of a flower, it's kind of like it's not really, it's like a 5-leaf clover. But there's lots of ways you could just use this as a very generic card, which I think is kind of fun. This is another one where I left, again, the technique for doing the flower was the main point of this card. It's on a red cardstock base, layers of solid paper, pattern paper, a banner of white, and then this pretty flower that was using some sequins and some punches and just pretty. It could lean towards a Christmas card because it has kind of a Christmassy vibe, but then these are not Christmas flowers, they're generic, so it could work for just about anything. So again, lots of fun with just a very basic card. Thanks so much for stopping by and checking out all these amazing fun cards. Sentimentless cards can be great because they can keep them in your stash and they're perfect, and you can use them for whatever you'd like. So if you'd like to join my card swap, not all these cards are part of the card swap, or they came from previous ones, to kind of give you an idea of what a sentimentless card, and this one is upside down, I just realized that, of what a sentimentless card or generic card is like. Please drop a line. I will also have the link to my video or to my Facebook group where I run all my card swaps. So thanks so much for stopping by, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.